Specific to our business, MISMO and the standards really have allowed, a way to integrate those different technologies and solutions, pretty easily and in a way that's very consumable. So from an internal perspective, it's been super helpful. And then, you extend that to the way that we interact with our customers and partners. It also simplifies, the way that we deploy those solutions to make it work very well for them. So using the work of MISMO and helping to define and use those standards in the way that we put the different pieces together, it's been super helpful.
Talking about remote online notarization, for instance, there's all kinds of myriads of challenges with that. And it needs to come down to sort of a single way that we can operate, even with a few different vendors. And MISMO's in the big fat middle of trying to make us uniformly do something that works for everybody. The other thing that I know we're talking about within our company is the closing instructions. Everybody has their own process, their own way of doing things, and it just leads to a lot of complications and problems down the road. And so what MISMO does from our perspective is every time there's a problem, there's this challenge that we're all doing workarounds and providing manual work. The volunteers and the team at MISMO get together and think, how do we simplify that? How do we make that process better? And in every occasion, every time that comes up, it's just a huge game changer for our industry as a whole, that we can agree about this one thing and that we're going to do this one thing this certain way. And then no matter where the loans are going, there's some continuity to that process and to what you're receiving, which is a huge, huge benefit to the industry.
If we had a common reference model, if we had a common dictionary that we could use for translating between your English and my Spanish, we would be able to know whether this is actually cash or it's money that we're talking about. And that's what MISMO provides. It provides data for mortgage-related information and documents for mortgage-related information that allow us to know, for instance, the difference between the base loan amount and the loan amount that the borrower actually requested. So we actually have at MISMO these very discrete defined data points so that when we try to interact and exchange information and integrate with one another, we have this common model that we can refer to and use that will help us do that in a way that we know we have consistency and we can depend upon that information.
Well, the biggest thing about MISMO standards, it really does create standardization in the industry. And I was actually at Fannie Mae when we started talking about data standardization coming out of the last crisis, and how important that was to have a consistent standard across. And I think MISMO really represents that for the industry. The work that we did in the Uniform Data Standards work really now gives the industry a common language around data standards. And that's so important in not only the quality of the loan, so you know that there's consistency across lenders, given that we're all using the same standard for the data, but it's also about not only this common language, but really levels the playing field and that everyone's using the same data standards.